Hello, everyone. I'm Cindy, and this is
Heather.
Heather. We're the Chatty Quilters. We are laughing really hard today, trying to get our stuff together so we can bring you some fun stuff. So we may not make it. We might just start laughing a lot. We've been cooped up for a while, and it's winter, it's January. Heather, where has January gone?
I don't know, but it's almost over. It's kind of crazy. But I don't
I
know that you can really call it winter. I mean, winter here in the Midwest is like 2 weeks.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. The snow is melting. Now it's raining a lot. So the weather has changed a little bit. We had some cold. We felt like we were snowed in, schools canceled, and all those kinds of things. I was out taking care of family. We said when we shifted our lives that the one thing that is great is we can do the things that we need to do with family when it's necessary. So that has delayed some of the things that we've had going on, but we are glad to be able to do that. So now we're trying to get back in the swing of things. And Heather has been sewing more than I have, and we'll share some of that stuff with you. We also have been laughing so much. Heather's experiences in Missouri, a little bit different than Idaho. And so, gosh, you want to tell us about some of that?
I think
Uh,
maybe I should write a book, like things you need to know when you move to the Midwest, because I just keep finding new things. Like at first I was like, oh, you'd never go through the Sonic drive-through or any drive-through during an ice storm or like a freezing rainstorm because you can't roll down your window to get your
True.
food or give them your money. So that was new. Humidity is just a game changer. So let's see, the other day I was at the shop and couldn't get my key in my lock to turn because it was frozen.
Mhm.
Doesn't happen in dry cold. Oh yeah, I called Cindy the other day. I'm like, I just slid backwards down a muddy road in four-wheel drive. What's this all about? She's like, oh, muddy roads. Ha ha. Who knew?
Dirt roads, gravel roads, dirt roads turn into mud, come to find out when it rains a lot.
They turn
True,
into
true.
mudslide is what they turn into.
Yes,
Because I'm
yes.
like, I'm in four-wheel drive and I'm sliding backwards. What is this all about? And I'm like sliding down a mudslide. And it's not even steep. It's like barely. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. What else? There was something else that was so funny.
Well,
Skunk.
the skunks.
The skunks.
Uh, she had texted me that there were some skunks a few feet from her when she went out to do chores.
In my barn, frolicking about, three huge skunks. I'm like, well, hello.
I'm thinking, so you're lucky you didn't get sprayed and have
I'm
to deal
lucky
with
I
that,
didn't
right?
spray.
I'm thinking that they have found the feed for the animals and you have 3 new pets.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, just add them to the list of the farm animals, maybe. I don't know, but that's funny. I'm so glad you didn't get sprayed. That would have changed the day right away.
Yeah, me too. I just kind of froze and they walked right past me and kept playing. And I was like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, you don't know whether to freeze or run,
I
right?
know. I'm like, I want to startle you, but I'm out.
Yeah, so our finally we have a I did never have a doorbell. We built our house 25 years ago. My husband never got around to giving me a doorbell. We're out in the country. Don't know that we've ever just that's been a big deal. But when everybody had when the ring doorbells came out and the cameras and everything, I said, "Oh, I want that. I want to know when my Amazon packages are coming, right?"
Yeah.
And so we finally have one, and what everybody, the security cameras and all those things. But it alerts you in the middle of the night. And come to find out now, we have no animals, but we have a black cat that visits on our porch every night. And then last night it went off, and we actually had a fox on our porch. And I thought that was a little odd. We're not feeding anybody. There's no food out. There's no animals around, but the fox came on the front porch. I thought that was really odd. If a skunk comes on the front porch, I don't know. I don't know what you put out to make them not come around, but I'm gonna Google that and figure that out, right? Because I
Yeah,
don't want the skunks on the front porch at all.
I need that.
Yeah, I thought it was really odd that a fox was on our porch, though, for sure. So, oh, well, let's
Yeah, let's talk quilting. I know
Top
we
quilter.
talked about UFOs the other day. We were both kind of making our lists for this year, what we wanted to get done. How many
I'm a
quilts
little
on your list?
nervous. I will tell you, I've looked at the list. Of course, I've been away from the sewing machine, which I've missed terribly. I was sewing so much every day. Then to be away from it so many weeks, I was just really having withdrawals. That surprised me. But so I need to get a little bit organized. That's what everybody does at the beginning of the year, right? So obviously, I hate to even, I'm afraid to say anything out loud because I did with the Christmas quilt, but it kept me accountable and I had to
Let's
keep
do it.
working on it until I finished it.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, oh, how much do I like? I feel like I need a list for the whole year, but I'm like, how much do I want to put on that list? And, you know, how is that really going to get me in gear? Is it going to make me stressed out? Like, what do I want to say out loud?
Yeah.
So I'm not prepared yet, but I will be next time. And I'll tell you what the list is going to be. I know a double wedding ring for my son that's been married 14 years for his wedding quilt's going to be top on the list. The biggest UFO, as we all know, that's in my pile, and
That would be my whole year.
it's out ready to go. It's half done, so it's not. I'll show you the stages of it, but yes, that will be first on the list. So I'll throw that out there to put that pressure on a little bit. So so that one will not be able to go to the bottom of the pile for sure. And I'll let you know what else I'll be working on.
Well, I'm gonna quilt my giant quilt that you've all seen, the big giant raspberry kisses.
Mhm.
It will barely fit on the long arm, and I'm going to quilt it next week
Oh,
because I want it.
that was such a gutsy statement. I was not ready for that one at all.
I want it done for my grand opening, so I got to get it done. And now I have a deadline, and
Okay.
I have this accountability, so it's gonna get done.
Okay, you said it out loud. So we're going to keep track of your progress. We will ask for an update and be able to see it. So tell me again, we were concerned that it wouldn't fit on the long arm frame,
Very
but you will be able to get.
Now I have to load it sideways because the concern was it's about 140 one way by 125 the other way. So it's very large. And that was the concern. But if I load it sideways, I mean I guess it's sideways, but who knows? Because it goes clear to the floor on both sides of my king size bed. So I'm assuming that's the 140. But we were showing it to a lady the
Wait.
other
Have
day.
you measured it? Have you
Yes.
officially measured it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were showing it to this lady and Doug's holding it up and her face was so confused. And he said, it's for a tent, a circus tent. She was like, really? No, it's big enough. But I got to figure out the perfect quilting pattern that I won't get sick of, that's not trendy. Because, I'm never going to get sick of that quilt. It has 400 fabrics in it.
Yeah, you're going to have to enjoy that for a very long time.
Yeah.
So definitely pick a pattern that you love. And
So
that's one thing.
I want to hear everyone's favorite go-tos. It's got to be a little modern. I
Mhm.
don't love
That's your
feathers.
style. Mhm.
Kind of geometric a little bit. I want to know your favorite go-to for just a nice modern texture in the back of the quilt. So I don't want it to, the quilting to take over or anything. I just want it quilted not too tight. So let's hear it.
So that's one thing that I've learned, us kind of being connected here in Missouri is now I have a sense of your piecing style. So I'm looking forward to, I haven't probably, I don't think I've seen a lot that you've quilted. So I'm looking forward to just seeing what your style is because a couple of quilts in, I'll be able to tell, right?
Well, I'm a
So,
horribly boring quilter for my quilts. I like things that will never go out of style. So
mhm.
once I commit to the fabric of a quilt, I mean, it takes me a long time. I never make quilts out of like a collection of fabrics because I've been there, done that. And like 5 years later, I look at it and it's like that, couch with brown and orange flowers from the 70s. It's cute again now, maybe, but had some years that it was really
Fair
horrible. So
point.
I want to love the quilts always. So like I love the quilt hanging behind you. It's never going to go out of style. I love vintage quilts for that reason. Two color quilts, anything that's going to last the ages. So I really am super picky about what I do. So I just quilt a lot of clamshells and, you know, things that don't things that are kind of traditionally but also modern, you know?
Yeah, the things that stand the test of time, right?
Yes.
And I have this quote behind me for a reason, but we will let you talk about what you've been sewing on, and then we'll also talk about this one as well.
Okay, so we were talking about, size of blocks, and as you know, that 400 fabric quilt has 4-inch blocks, so it's a lot of blocks. I'm going to share my screen and show you an
So you
alternative.
needed to break from the
I,
smaller blocks? Is that what I'm hearing?
yeah, I go through phases where, I don't need a new project, so I go through and, you know, I want instant gratification, and that's when these kind of quilts come in handy. So I decided, I'm decorating a shop, a long arm shop, and I wanted quilts that would really, I could show off the quilting and what the machines could do without really, going to a ton of work piecing. And I didn't want anything intricate. So I thought I'm going to pick couple of my favorite blocks and I'm going to enlarge them and make them into the whole quilt. So here are the two that I did this last week. And I want you to just throw out a guess, although I can see my husband's toes peeking out from the bottom of that quilt, so it kind of gives you an idea of how big it is. But that block is one of my
Now,
favorites.
Doug's not short, we will say that.
Not short. So the actual block itself is 60 by 60. By the time I got all the borders on it, it's about almost 80 by 80. So I could put that on a double bed, like a full-size bed, and it would be the whole thing. I'm super excited to quilt it. I'm going to do fun quilting on these, nothing boring, no clamshells, because I want to show off, what a long arm can do in white space and on how it can bring a quilt alive. But this other one, this churn dash, my daughter-in-law and grandkids were here last weekend, and we kind of were brainstorming. It was her idea to flip-flop the colors and do inverted and do
Great
the
choice.
board
Yeah,
thing.
great choice.
And who doesn't love cheddar? Right?
Love it.
Cheddar and white I love cheddar and white. So that was really fun. And those blocks are 24-inch blocks. So that one's about 60 by 60 with the borders all finished. And so that's kind of fun. So I wanted to show you kind of how my process, and it's probably a little bit un, what is that?
Well, we
Unorthodox?
say we're not professionals.
Not
Like, we're not professionals. We don't write patterns for a living, right?
right. That's right.
I I wanted to last night, when we talked a little bit yesterday, you told me that, how quick that was to put together. And I thought, oh, I really wanted to um, be a great partner, chatty quilter partner, and go, oh, let me also just whip one of those out like Heather does. And you know what? So last night I was like, I can't even decide what color I want. I was like, I really want hot pink. No, I love the red, but she did the red, and I couldn't decide on a color. So I just didn't even go there. So.
You know what I
But I
think
do
is fabulous is what about a dark gray where the white is, and then a white star with a white little border? I think that
Mhm.
would be stunning.
Yeah, I love gray as well.
I mean,
Okay,
it probably takes an hour to sew it together, so how can you go wrong? Make one of every color, Cindy.
right.
So what I like to do is get some grid paper. I love grid paper and it's very handy. See what I did there? Just kidding. This is the grid paper that I had handy. And I sketched out my block. And it doesn't matter necessarily how big or how small you sketch it out, because using this grid, you can do the simple math. So over here I have that if 1 square of grid equals an inch, this will make an 8-inch block finished. If I say that each square represents 2 inches, automatically my quilt block doubles in size and I have a 16-inch block, and so on. So in order to make a 60-inch block, each of these squares represents 7.5 inches, which is really easy because then I'm cutting things 8 inches to finish 7.5, the corner blocks. And when I do my half square triangles, I have a little trick that you can Google. I mean, it's everywhere. It's not my trick. But the 4 corner squares, I just added, a half an inch to the blocks. So a 60-inch block, this has 4 blocks coming down, as you can see in the picture, both pictures. So that makes a 15-inch block. So all of these blocks are 15 inches for this for this particular star. So the corners I cut 15 and a half, so they would finish at 15. The half square triangles also needed to finish, they needed to be 15 and a half. So to add to cut the appropriate size for that, you add 7/8 of an inch to your finished block size. So my finished block size is 15 inches. I cut these squares 15 and 7/8. So just cut them 16 and trim them down if you want.
Right,
I mean,
right.
you know. And draw the line diagonally. So stitch on a 1/4 inch on each side of the line, cut it down the middle, and you have your 2 blocks, right? So then it's not hard to count up that these dotted lines show the blocks, and I could have sewn this a lot of different ways, but I chose to do it in all half square triangles because it was super easy. And then you just count up how many half square triangles you need, and I needed 12. So that was pretty easy to cut, those pieces, cut 6 of each color and mark them and sew them, and wow, it went together so fast.
So the answer to is bigger always better or is bigger better? It is when you need a quick quilt.
Right.
And I know some people like miniature quilts. I'm not one of those. I would rather go big pieces, get it done. And I like the simplicity of it. And so the quilt behind me, it was really it wasn't planned that I had it out. I had been in a closet that I hadn't been in for a while, and I do not know, I don't remember where I bought this from, probably about 15 years ago from a garage sale, I believe, but I didn't write down any of the details. I mean, I don't know who it belonged to or anything about it, but it was funny because I had it out, and then Heather showed me that she was doing this, and I said, this quilt is from like 40s or 50s maybe. And I said, these blocks are huge and it's all hand quilted. And then that applique is attached with tiny little hand stitches it's really different because you can see the stitches going around it like it's hand quilted on top, like not
Not like
trying
a
to
whip
hide the
stitch.
stitches,
Yeah,
not a whip
not like
stitch,
you would
right?
normally applique. It's literally stitched on top, and the stitches are so tiny.
Right, and then the white blocks are just a duplicate of the pattern of the applique, just hand quilted as the design. And so these blocks are 22 inches. And I just thought,
Wow.
I haven't seen a whole lot of quilts, older quilts, with these big of blocks. When I saw it at a garage sale, and I wish I had written down, what I paid for it and the year I got it, but I didn't think anything about it then. I can tell you it was not very expensive, and it was hand quilted, and I thought I've just got to take that home with me. So I just had it out. I needed to get it out and store it differently, and so I was doing that. And it just so happened then Heather was working on these big blocks, and so I thought, well, that's fun. And so I thought I would hang it up behind me. So I do love the blue and white, but it would look good in red and white. And so
Any
yeah.
I love the 2 color quilts. My daughter-in-law and I both made a Irish chain with white and a color, and she picked raspberry and I picked yellow. And I have it on my bed. I love it. It's just so beautiful and timeless, and love those 2 color quilts.
I don't know if I've seen an Irish chain just in the two colors or recently.
I'll post
Um,
a picture on the group on the
yeah,
Facebook.
do
That
that.
would be fun. I also, I was just reminded of when I had my quilt shop, we did a class that was just one giant churn dash block for a baby quilt. And it was probably a 36 by 36-inch baby quilt. That's just one giant churn block. And it was so cute. We did it scrappy. So it was like each piece of the churn block was a different fabric. So cute.
And I know you love that block, but it serves a good purpose for a lot of different things, but it does make a really cute baby quilt as well.
It does. I love that block, although I did make a quilt, a scrappy quilt out of all my Japanese fabrics and use the churn dash, a scrappy churn dash. And you really can't even tell it's the churn dash block because it's so busy. It's just it's a bowl of fruit salad is what it looks like.
A bowl of fruit salad. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Well, we are going to road trip at the end of February. We're going to road trip to QuiltCon, hit the road, get out of town for a little bit. We've been cooped up for the winter for a couple of months, so we'll hit the road.
Hit the road. And you know the good thing about road tripping? You can stop at quilt shops.
Right?
That means
Right.
Facebook Lives coming your way.
We haven't even mapped that out yet. We haven't even looked to see how many gazillions of quilt shops are along the way.
And we
'Cause-
need to see where our route meets so we can meet there at the same time and then
right.
finish the road trip together.
Yep. Yep. So we'll do that, talking about going to the H&H Quilt Show in May up near Chicago. So kind of looking at that, still making some plans, getting back in the swing of things. So stay tuned, everyone, to
Yep.
see what's next. Heather, you have an open house coming up next week for your long arm store.
Yep.
And well, we will be together
It's
then because
oh,
I will be
yes.
traveling down to
Yeah,
say
it's
hello.
such a cute little main street. It reminds me of my quilt shop in Little Kimberly, Idaho. This is Little Willow Springs, Missouri, and the main street is just so cute and so charming, and it's just the cutest little town where, the community is just wants to help everybody, and I just love it. It just feels so homey to me.
Yes, and it just needed a quilt shop,
It didn't need a
a
quilt.
long arm shop, right? It needed a reason for quilters to come and find it like we like to do when we travel around. So,
I hope it doesn't cause some accidents because we have the big windows, the whole front is windows, and we're in there quilting these fun quilts, and people are driving by like, what? What is
right?
going on in there?
But there's no stoplights along there or stop signs.
Yeah. So I don't know.
So drive by slow, take a look, pull in, stop in and say hello. So I can't wait to be down there. And, that'll just be what, next week or so?
Yeah,
Yeah,
February
next week.
1st.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the countdown.
Yes.
So
So
excited.
excited. So,
All right. Well, let's see all of your big block quilts. If you've done a big block quilt, throw it out in the group. If you don't know, we have our Facebook group and our Facebook page. You can share all you want in the group. We love to inspire each other. So be sure to follow the page and join the group, and then you'll get all the resources and all the fun. And we want to see what you're
absolutely.
working on as well.
Absolutely. Okay, until next time.
All right.
See you later.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.